Hello everyone, my name is Brandon Gorman, and today I chose to analyze Last Day on Earth from Granta. In order to begin the analysis, I want to first give you an introduction to the story so you can get a picture of the context of the story. The story starts with a flashback from the protagonist's life. It paints the picture of the son, Caleb, admiring his father and following his father's every wish. Then fast forward to present day. We will see the family is no longer together, and now we realize this is going to be a story about a broken family where Caleb is now caught in the middle. Caleb lives with his mom while his father lives with his newfound girlfriend. The father had a pair of hunting dogs which are introduced at the beginning of the story, but now, since the dogs are no longer used for sport, are living with the mom and Caleb, completely abandoned in a horse run. The story paints the picture of how divorce causes destruction to a family and essentially everything in its path. Even the family pets. The story goes on to show the hatred the mother harbors for the father, probably because he left her to fend for herself and her child. Makes sense. And how this hatred transpires to the dogs, who she now wants to take to the shelter. The son, who chooses the father's side throughout the story, calls the father to tell him what the mother is doing, and holds on to hope that he is going to come and to rescue the dogs from their fate at the shelter, and ultimately hopes he is going to rescue him as well. The story also paints the picture of loss, the loss of a father figure for the son, the loss of a husband for the mother, and the loss of anyone who cares about the dogs. The disappointment is constant throughout the story. The father disappointing the mother and the son, the family disappointing the dogs by not paying attention to them, and the father disappointing himself because he isn't a success. Now that you have an idea of the story and the context of the main conflict throughout the story, I want to touch on the importance of the setting in the story. The setting plays a crucial role in the development of characters. The two most important settings in the story are the mother's house and the father's apartment. The house which Caleb lives in with his mother is something that they cannot afford. The mother is now living a life well beyond her means because the father has left them. The father at his apartment is obviously not doing well either. He is living with his girlfriend in what Caleb paints as nothing extraordinary. One could say this is also the result of a divorce and the father's hope that the grass is greener on the other side. But obviously it isn't. The beach is also important because it shows the mother what life could be like if she stopped worrying about everything, if she became carefree. The beach is also important because this is a turning point where the son realizes that the mother is full of surprises and that she will always be there for him. In the psychological approach, the reader can take one of three routes. One, which is investigating the creative process and how it affects the reader. Two, investigating the author and how it motivates the story. And three, which we will use to analyze the story, is the motivation of the characters and the insights of modern theories to explain why characters act a certain way. Some of the forces that motivate the characters to act the way that they do are the situational circumstances the family is now found in, due to divorce. The father is off with his new girlfriend, pretending to be successful in order to keep up with the facade. The mother is living with the son, pretending to live beyond their means. The son, who is forced to pick a side in the divorce, wishes he could be with his father instead of the situation he is in. All of their actions are, in a sense, warranted and stem from the divorce and the broken family. The son is holding on to hope of something better, perhaps because he is angry that they are in the situation that they are in. He holds on to the hope that the father will swoop in and save the day. The characters' behaviors are both conscious and subconscious. The mother is consciously aware of the state she is in, which leads her to drink. This shows that her psychological state is not 100% clear. She is unhappy with her life and is depressed. She would rather drink and forget about what brought her to this point. The father lives in a realm of denial, dreaming and chasing his success, even though he clearly is not successful. He has to portray this to his son by always promising the son he will come and save him. In the following passage on page 205, you can see the motivations behind the characters' actions. Even the son realizes that the family is truly broken and there is no hope of rekindling the relationship. However, he holds on to the hope that a father is going to come and rescue him with his newfound success. The son is holding on to some delusional hope inside of him because he wants to believe his father. The mother is forced to drink because she is unhappy with the way her life turned out, and she is unhappy because she cannot make ends meet. The effects of her actions because she is feeding off of her emotions. The father is a liar and a disappointment, constantly failing his son, not keeping promises and pretending everything will be okay. The son is stuck in the middle of all this, trying to believe what is true and what isn't. The son finally wakes up at the end of the story after visiting his father's apartment and realizes it is all a lie. The characters consciously act as a result of the circumstances thrown at them. The mother struggled with money and making ends meet, the father struggled to be successful, and the son struggled to hold on to the past life while moving forward to a new future. Overall, the psychological elements in the story are quite strong and lead to the character development throughout the story. In the gender analyzed approach, the readers examine how men and women are portrayed in the story and how they either reject or reflect societal norms. Gender criticism and analysis explores the issues of gender identity and expression, sexuality, power, and marginalized in the story. In this story, the main issues analyzed are societal norms for both men and women. In this particular story, the societal norms are upheld, as we will see on the next slide, in relationship to the chosen passage. In this passage from page 207, you can see the implications of gender and societal norms for gender in the story. The main relationship between the mother and the father is destroyed by divorce. The relationship now is in the result of the conflict that arises from the divorce, which leads to even further conflict being brought to the mother and the son's relationship. The son now even doubts his mother, leaning on every word that the father says. In this story, you can see the struggle between males and females. Males cannot do anything wrong, and when they do not uphold their promises, the father is held on a pedestal by the son. The father has to uphold this facade of a lifestyle that he paints for his son, because these are the norms of society placed on the man. A man must be successful, a man must be the breadwinner and a provider for the family. The father is trying to portray that he is still the breadwinner in his newfound family. The mother, on the other hand, is held to the norms of society, that she must be a stay-at-home mother, that she is not as smart as the father and has no talents, therefore she could never be the breadwinner. The author painted her in this light to illustrate what happens to the mother after divorce. If the mother was the father in this picture, society would believe that the father was trying hard to find a job and provide for his family. Perhaps if she was even a male, she would have a job because she would have recognizable talents. The story continues to paint the picture of how societal norms prevent males and females from being treated equally. In the sociological analysis approach, the reader analyzes the story's use of money and power through three typical categories: cultural, economic, and political values. In the story, the main category that can be analyzed is economic values, followed by cultural values. The one which is lacking in the story are political values. In the story, economic values are portrayed through the parents' struggle to make ends meet, both of the parents. The mom realizes that she has to stop pretending to be okay and make a change, selling the car, moving out of the house, getting rid of the dogs. The father continues to pretend to be okay, even when the son sees the place he is living in. He keeps painting the picture that he is successful, because this is what he thinks society expects. The cultural values portrayed are through the two broken homes, and the fact that both of the parents are trying to do right by the child. The mother knows she has to change in order to provide for her son and herself. The father knew he couldn't take care of his son while he was trying to pursue his dream of being a successful businessman. In this passage on page 204, you can see the implications of societal norms and expectations. The father paints the picture that the mother is an idiot in this passage because of societal pressures for the man to be successful. The father doesn't want to agree with the mother that he is a failure, because he cannot be a failure in the eyes of society. He is attempting to chase his American dream and doesn't want to believe that this chase is over. With the father painting the picture of the mother being an idiot, he can tell in this society that women are seen as inferior as compared to the man. The mother never finished college in this story because she got pregnant. It was always expected of her to be the stay-at-home mom while the father finished school and worked. Money plays an important role in this story because the whole struggle in this story is centered around money. The mom can no longer afford to take care of the dogs, so she needs to get rid of them. The father cannot afford this magnificent house, so he lives with his girlfriend in a small apartment. The son struggles too with whose side to take in the story. He holds on to the hope of his father's success and doesn't believe his mother has talent to make it on their own. A relationship between the characters and the society they live in influence the characters' actions by forcing them to act out because of the situation they are in. The main theme of this story is deception and disappointment. Some examples of this is the deception the mother portrays when she pretends to keep up with the Joneses. That she can afford the life she had with her husband on her own. This is also disappointing to her because she realizes that she is going to have to give up in order to make ends meet. The father is full of deception too, always saying that he is going to come save Caleb, and he is doing well for himself, and is going to make have a big house on the beach where Caleb can live with him. This is disappointing to Caleb too because his father is always letting him down, even when he promises he is not going to. Then the ultimate deception in the story is the taking of Shorty and Ranger, the two dogs, to the beach where they think they are going to have a fun day. But little do they know what is coming next. The pound and the ultimate end for them. They live a life in solitude and disappointment because they are confined to the horse run and no longer paid attention to by the family. The overall theme of this story results in the portrayal of a shattered family who is ruined by deception and disappointment. This is ultimately the result of repercussions of divorce and how it affects the children and even indirectly the pets of the family. The children and the pets are the innocent bystanders who are affected by the choices of the parents. While the parents may mean well, their actions speak differently, and ultimately they are harboring a dissent and disappointment. The author of the story does a great job of painting the reader a picture of the many aspects of a broken family after divorce. I think a lot of people who have gone through this can relate and can really feel themselves in the pages of the story. I think the main thing to take away from this story is not the overall sadness for the two dogs whose fate has been determined for them, but the main takeaway is how the boy grows from the undeniable loyalty and admiration for his father to the realization of how valuable a mom can be in his life. The boy wakes up at the end of the story and realizes that his father will continually disappoint him while his mother will continually surprise him. We can see this from this quote. "I was too astounded to care. She could surprise me with a useless talent." We can see from this quote that the son finally realizes that his mother is full of surprise and that they will be okay. The story made me really think what it would be like to grow up in a family of divorce and how hard it must be for families who have to go through that. I realize, though this story, that many people are affected by divorce, parents and children, and even pets. The challenge that all families have to face is how they are going to overcome the troubled times and work through this. So with that, this is the conclusion of my initial literary analysis of The Last Day on Earth. Thank you.